unused to the climate. I think that if man ever found a place to live easy and happy, that Eden is on Puget Sound. Eden is on Puget Sound. That Eden is on Puget Sound. A place to live easy and happy. That Eden is on Puget Sound.
Hello and welcome to the Seattle Files. My name is Chris Allen. I'm your host. Every week I get together with a different local comedian, and together we discuss the strange, unusual, interesting, and oftentimes lesser-known aspects of our local history. Joining me today on the program is Randy Miller. How's it going, Randy?
Hi, how's it going? No, whoops.
It's going good. It's going good.
That's the response that I need to say. You know?
Yeah. Randy is an ensemble member in Jet City Improv. He is also a freelance woodworker around town. You can find more about his woodworking at sagewoodcraft.com. What else do you do, Randy?
I do work in architecture around town, and I just kind of hang out.
Yeah. Working in architecture by day, comedy by night, right?
Yep.
Awesome. Randy, how long have you lived in the Seattle area?
I have lived here since 2008, so that's what?
8 years.
8 years.
8 years.
8 years now.
Cool.
Yeah.
Where are you from? What brought you out here?
I'm from Iowa, and I moved out here for a job.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. And how much do you know about local history?
Not much. I know a little bit about the architecture world, but that's really the extent of what I know.
Okay. All that Richardsonian Romanesque stuff down
I don't even know that.
So. Oh, yeah, down in Pioneer Square. Elmer Fisher and...
No, I know a lot about the Olmsted brothers.
Okay.
That's about it.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
So you have no idea what we're going to be talking about today, correct?
No idea.
Okay. I'm going to tell you, you actually kind of do.
Oh,
because
no.
A week ago when I asked you if you wanted to do the show, you said, I hope it's about the Olmsted brothers.
Oh,
And it is about the Olmsted brothers.
Can I say shit?
A little bit. Yeah, go for it.
All right. Sorry.
So first off, thanks to Elizabeth Westerman for this topic suggestion. If you have a topic that you would like to hear an episode about, shoot me an email at theseattlefiles@gmail.com. So let's get started. September 4th, 1895, the University of Washington was moved from its small two-story location on what is today 4th and University in downtown Seattle. It was a one-room school in downtown. It moved to a 583-acre tract of land on the northern outskirts of the city in what was called the Brooklyn District.
Okay.
Now it's the University District.
Why was it called the Brooklyn District?
Some of the people, when they first moved out here, were calling this area New York. In 1851.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, the Terry brothers, when they first got here in 1851, were calling this New York, which the natives started calling New York Alki. Alki being a shootsy word that meant like by and by,
Yeah.
which is why we have Alki Point now.
Okay.
But yeah, so it was it was out in the boonies kind of. It was,
Got
but
it.
that's what the university moved to. It was called the Brooklyn District at the time. At the time, the university was home to 15 professors and 310 students. And the tract of land they were moving to was mostly virgin forests. In 1897, the steamship Portland came down to Seattle from Alaska, bringing with it 2 tons of gold and kicking off the Klondike Gold Rush. Approximately 70,000 miners passed through Seattle on the way north, dramatically transforming the city and serving as one of the largest turning points in the city's history.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so 1895, the university moves, 1897...
Miners move in.
Yeah, exactly. Seemingly unrelated events.
And they tear up all the ground and vastly change Seattle.
Something like that, yeah. A whole bunch of people moved through, a big population boom in 1897. The Klondike Gold Rush was a huge turning point in the city's history.
Okay.
In 1905, Godfrey Cheelander was serving as the U.S. Government Commissioner of Alaska for the Lewis and Clark Centennial Exposition. He visited Seattle and had the idea of a grand exposition in Seattle that could highlight Alaska, since Seattle had developed such a unique relationship with the new state.
Okay.
He contacted the Alaska Club in Seattle, and they were in strong support of the idea. Local businesses were contacted, and the plan was to raise $100,000 to hold the grand event.
All right.
So he wants to have this big thing, because all these people are coming through Seattle, going to Alaska. He wants to have a big event in Seattle to highlight Alaska.
And how much is $100,000 today?
A lot.
Okay.
A lot,
right.
yeah.
I'll accept that answer.
Okay, it would be millions and millions of dollars. I'm not sure exactly, maybe $3 million or so.
Okay.
So, whole lot of money. Then newspapers started printing articles about the plan, and more businesses wanted to be a part of it. The idea grew, and soon the plan was to have an expo to highlight the Yukon Territory as well as Pacific Rim countries.
Okay.
So people are running with it. The idea is expanding. It was just about Alaska, and now it's about all this other stuff as well.
Right, right.
Edward Meany, who is both a professor of botany and history at University of Washington, as well as a trustee of the Alaska-Yukon-Pacific Expo Committee, proposed that the massive piece of undeveloped university property could be used to house the Expo. The buildings and campus erected could then be turned over to use of the university after the event ended.
How many of the buildings still exist then?
There's a handful still left.
Are we going to get into that?
We'll get into that a little bit, yeah.
Okay,
But there's a fair amount. The university campus, as it stands today, is almost exactly as it was designed for the Expo. Only more buildings were built up, and some were torn down. Some were only temporary structures.
Right. Well, that's cool.
Yeah. The company then proceeded to raise $10 million, including $650,000 that was raised selling stock in the Expo in just 12 hours.
12-hour stock.
12-hour stock, $650,000 in early 1900s money.
Wow.
It was the largest amount of money raised by a city in one day for any purpose.
I wish we could do that now.
Yeah. I don't think that would happen.
Big Bertha would be moving faster.
Oh, I don't think anything's going to get Big Bertha moving. No, I think that is... Oh, man. I have a lot of opinions about that.
Today a water main broke right near where I work, and just didn't have water in our building.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
The Olmsted brothers from Massachusetts were hired to come in and convert 250 acres of undeveloped land on the lower campus into the Expo fairgrounds.
Okay.
John C. Olmsted was familiar with Seattle, having created a citywide parks plan in 1903 and a plan for the University of Washington in 1904.
Okay.
And you know about the Olmsted brothers.
I know a little bit. I don't want to overpromise what I know.
Okay.
I know they did some work in the Ravenna Park area and did some connections all around town.
I haven't done a ton of work on their park planning, but I believe the idea was that they never wanted you to have to walk more than a quarter mile to get from park to park.
Yep.
And you can still see that in the layout of the city, even though a lot of those parks are gone.
I think a lot of them are still around, though. That's what's pretty crazy.
Yeah, so all the parks are supposed to be kind of close enough and long enough to be connected.
Right.
So you could walk around the entirety of Seattle, but still remain in nature the entire time.
Yeah.
Which is really incredible.
Yeah.
Really great design. Yeah. When John C. Olmsted surveyed the land where the Expo would take place, he wrote, quote, "The growth on the ground is so dense I could not see much. The land has never been cleaned up. Most of the original timber was cut and there were fires, but there are still some groves and scattering original fir trees left. I suppose they were thought too small or of inferior quality to cut at the time lumbering was done, but there are still trees 3 to 4 feet in diameter and a few even larger perhaps. What remain look like the very biggest we ever had in Maine. They are tall and straight and would make fine masts. A dense growth covers the ground, sometimes mostly young fir trees, sometimes alder trees, maples, and others. The alders are pretty trees, and I saw some near the boathouse with tall, straight, smooth trunks like forest beech trees about 16 or 18 inches diameter. The undergrowth is extremely dense. The climate is so damp that everything grows luxuriantly. Brake ferns are higher than my head. The cell rattles like starched linen when one walks through it. I followed trails mostly, but where I didn't, it was hard getting through. Occasionally, partly burnt logs impeded one."
Okay. So, a burnt log impeded the trails?
Impeded the trails, I think is what he's saying.
Why were they burnt?
Probably struck by lightning.
Oh, okay.
Or something.
I
don't
just
know.
thought that, like, maybe people were just starting fires and,
Probably
they were all pyros.
Some of that, yeah. Probably people were living in the woods.
Yeah, I would.
You would live in the woods?
Probably at that time, yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. I mean, there were a lot of natives living out here, and it was, a lot of them were getting pushed out at this point.
Yeah.
And had been pushed out.
Yeah.
But natives have been living here for about 12,000 years.
Yeah, I guess if they would welcome me, I guess I would stay with them.
You would stay with the people in the woods if they let you stay with them?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want to displace anybody.
Yeah, that's very nice of you. That's contrary to, I think, a lot of the attitudes of people back then.
Right.
A ground map was printed featuring the innovative design and the bold claim at the top boasting, "The fair will be ready."
Okay. Yeah, that's a good promise to have.
It is, yeah. It's really not the most catchy.
But it will be catchy.
It will be catchy. It sounds kind of desperate.
Yeah.
Like, trust us, the fair will be ready.
Like it was a little bit of self-soothing.
Yeah, yeah. The project took 2 years to complete. They regraded much of the land, cleared it, and used dynamite and horse-pulled plows.
Yes.
The campus... You like dynamite and horse-pulled
yeah,
plows?
I love it.
Who doesn't, right? The campus design is still visible to this day, one of the most notable being the fountain pavilion that perfectly frames Mount Rainier. Been on the UW campus?
You know, that is one place in Seattle that I haven't been to
No?
a lot. Yeah.
Oh, the campus is gorgeous.
I went into the library one time,
Mm-hmm.
but I have no sense of where anything is in the campus.
Okay. Well, there's the fountain pavilion, gorgeous,
Yeah.
frames Mount Rainier, because they built everything with the design, or the landscape in
Right.
mind.
Right.
The design was very much counter to traditional city design. Instead of a grid, the campus was made to highlight the landscape rather than change it, with curved streets and walkways to provide the best views of the surrounding mountains and Lake Washington.
That's probably why I don't know how to get around it, because it's
I get
all
lost
curved.
all the time when I
yeah.
try to go there.
Okay. Well, maybe I just need to look at the map a little bit more.
Yeah, I feel like I can make my way from one side of the campus to the other, no problem.
Yeah.
I worked as a standardized patient at UW, a fake patient for med students.
Oh, yeah?
And I would go like, I'm going to go walk around the campus after this, because we got out at like 11:30 in the
Yeah.
morning. And
then you were
got
like,
lost.
where the hell am I?
Yeah, how do I get back to my car? Uh-oh. Olmsted said he didn't want, quote, gaudy displays of ornamental carpet bedding, such as designs of emblems, mottos, or names of buildings worked up in colored foliage plants, but rather simple and harmonious with the magnificent natural surroundings.
Okay.
Good design.
Yeah. Yeah. Great design.
Many of the perfectly manicured gardens have since been built over to accommodate the growing student body. A San Francisco architecture firm was hired to design the buildings in a French Renaissance style. It became known as the Ivory City because all the buildings were so ornate.
Okay.
Over 80 buildings were built on the 250 acres.
Were the Olmsted brothers, were they upset by this?
I don't know.
Okay.
I think they were all working together.
Oh, they were working together. I wasn't sure if the ornateness was in their master plan.
I think that they were working together, and the Olmsted brothers were kind of looking at the big picture, the whole layout
Right.
design, and then the architectural firms were designing the individual
buildings,
buildings. Yeah. The fair was originally planned to take place in 1907 to commemorate the 10-year anniversary of the start of the Gold Rush, but the Jamestown, Virginia Expo was that year, and 1908 was a presidential election year, Taft versus Bryan. Who can forget that, right? So the year was set at 1909. The gates opened on June 1st, 1909, and the Alaska-Yukon-Pacific Exposition was up and running.
Nice.
Yeah.
Was it when they promised it would be?
It was 2 years later
Oh,
than they originally promised it would
Okay,
be.
well, but they got there.
It was ready. The fair will be ready.
Yeah, 2 years later.
2 years later, yeah. We have a long history in Seattle.
That's
going,
the fine print.
Yeah, all the way back of delaying massive projects
Yeah.
several years.
Right.
Yeah. You're a big World's Fair guy. Or you went to the World's Fair in Milan
this
recently.
past year. Yeah, I love World's Fairs.
Cool. Yeah, and actually Randy directed a show at Jet City called World's Fair,
Yeah.
based on the book Devil in the White City.
By
about...
Eric Larson, who also lives in Seattle.
Hey.
He didn't come to my show, though.
Oh, did you invite him?
I did, and I never heard back from him.
Oh, that's too bad.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah, about H.H. Holmes, the serial
Yeah.
killer at the Chicago
Yep.
World's Fair.
Yep.
We don't know of any serial killers at this fair, but it's the Northwest.
I'm sure there was one.
Probably at least one serial killer came to this thing.
Sounds like there was a bunch of serial killers of fir trees.
That's right, yeah. That's some environmentalist attitude there. Those Olmsted brothers murdered all of our trees. I was politely living in those woods.
I know, with all my friends.
Admission was 50 cents for adults, 25 cents for children.
Outrageous prices.
Oh, yeah, really. Yeah, that's gouging you.
Yeah.
That's gouging you.
Yeah.
On opening day, Ein's orchestral band from New York, led by trombonist F.N. Ein's, played. The band was internationally known in its time.
F.N. Ein's? Do you think they have an iTunes station?
I doubt it.
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Can we look it up?
Let's look it up, yeah.
All right.
Well, we looked it up, and no. There's not. The first listing under F.N. Ein's was What the Fuck. The song or an artist, it was not, yeah.
Not the traditional band we once knew.
Probably not the same band that was playing. Every day of the fair was declared a special day.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. There was Railwaymen Day, Skagit Valley Day, Polish Day, Swedish Day, Kentucky Day, Mystic Shriners Day,
Ooh.
San Francisco Day, Young Ladies Day, and
Ew.
many others. The architecture was stunning, and many short-term as well as permanent buildings were erected for the festival. One of the buildings featured was the Hoo Hoo House.
The Hoo Hoo House?
The Hoo Hoo House.
Oh, that's a fun one.
Yeah.
What's inside there?
Well, it was for the International Consecrated Order of the Hoo Hoo.
That's exactly what I thought it would be.
Yeah, which is a social organization for lumber workers and lumberjacks.
Oh.
So this is your people.
These are my people.
You're a woodworker. Yeah, you could be a Hoo Hoo.
I could be a Hoo Hoo.
The Hoo Hoo was a strange organization who adopted the black cat as their mascot.
Really? Not an owl?
Not an owl. Oh, yeah, they missed an opportunity there,
Yeah,
didn't
right?
they? Yeah.
Okay.
No,
right. The black cat.
Their motto is the black cat. The Hoo Hoo House was a 2-story frame house with two huge ornamental black cats standing at the entrance with eyes that glowed at night.
Nice.
Yeah, there were 2 more decorative black cats on top of the house.
Okay.
Every time I read about this fair, all I can think about is Burning Man.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like they're creating this giant, like, crazy-ass art installation
Right.
for a short period of time.
Right, with burning eyes.
Yeah.
And the cats on the cats. I hope that there were real cats on top of the 2 secondary pair of cats.
They had a house cat, a large black cat named
course.
Bandersnatch.
Bandersnatch?
Bandersnatch.
Oh my god.
Bandersnatch the Hoo Hoo cat. And the interior of the house was lighted with lanterns, which also were adorned with cats with red or green eyes.
Okay.
9 was the number of the fraternity, so they had a special ceremony on September 9th, 1909.
Okay.
Because these guys are crazy.
Yeah, well, they named a cat Bandersnatch.
They sure did, yeah. There were buildings for countries and regions around the world where visitors could see artwork and demonstrations, plus sample authentic cuisine from all over the globe. The expo was touted as, quote, the largest and most costly display of pianos, player pianos, orchestrations, talking machines, and musical instruments ever made.
Was that received as a good thing back then? Or?
That was a good thing.
That was a good thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was like, look at this cutting-edge technology. Check out this player piano.
Nice.
There was a wireless electric player piano which was able to broadcast a song to a radio speaker horn located a short distance away.
Wow.
Witchcraft.
That is witchcraft.
Yeah.
Wow.
Really cutting-edge technology at the time.
I guess so. Were people... Was it far enough away where you couldn't hear the original piano? Or was it like 10 feet away... And so you heard the piano, and then you heard it through the radio.
I believe the piano itself didn't make noise.
Oh,
I think that it was a purely electronic piano.
Got it. Okay.
It might have been, if it was a wireless electric playing piano, it might have been an actual piano, and they were picking up the frequency, and it would go away.
Yeah.
But I believe that this was like a keyboard.
Okay.
This is the first Casio.
Yeah, all right.
And they're playing it, and it's not
Yeah.
doing anything, but it's
Okay.
broadcasting the sound.
I bet the Hoo Hoos had one of those.
I bet they did, yeah. One variety act that performed was the Great Dixieland Spectacle, a vaudeville group whose ranks include dancer Zenora Moore and stagehand Bertram Philander Ross Hendricks. The 2 of them would go on to become grandparents to Jimi Hendrix,
Okay.
who's from around here.
Right. Yeah. I know the guy.
Yeah. You know him personally?
No,
Okay.
but I know a statue.
Yeah.
So-
Oh, yeah, there's a statue on Capitol Hill.
Is it still there?
It's still there.
I hope it's still there.
It's still there. Yeah,
Okay.
they moved it.
Okay.
But it's still there. And he's buried in Renton.
Yeah.
I haven't been to his grave, but apparently there's a big shrine.
I would hope so.
Yeah. The Expo was an important campaign ground for women's suffrage. There was an equal suffrage amendment in Washington state to be placed on the ballot in November of 1910, and suffragettes came to the Expo in full force.
Nice.
They distributed 3,000 copies of the Washington Women's Cookbook, which consisted of recipes interspersed with suffragist messages as a non-threatening way to get suffragist literature into homes.
Okay.
Which is brilliant.
Yeah.
Have the recipe book, and then if you want to get it in the hands of women whose husbands might not be so inclined,
Right.
oh no, it's just a recipe book,
Right.
and he's not going to look in it.
Right. Not past the first 2 pages.
Right. Or at all, yeah, but
Yeah.
it's a really smart way
Yeah,
of
it
doing
is.
that, yeah, it's a really great idea.
Yeah.
The suffragettes spoke at the Expo and were generally well received. July 7th was designated Women's Suffrage Day, and the Equal Suffrage Amendment passed the following year. One of the biggest draws at the Expo was the pay streak. This was the portion of the Expo dedicated to rides and amusement park type activities.
Okay.
Named after the gold discoveries in Alaska, the pay streak was home to incredibly dangerous rides that would likely not pass safety standards today.
I am very interested in this because I know a lot about safety standards today.
Oh yeah?
Well, not with amusement park rides, but With things not falling down.
Oh, do you have to do, like, OSHA and...
Well, I don't have to deal with OSHA, but it's more like codes and fire code and stairs and
Yeah. How many square feet of space for
Yeah.
oxygen needs for each person,
Correct,
habit,
yeah.
and... Yeah. So the fun stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was L.A. Thompson Scenic Railway, which was a gravity-powered trip through plaster mountains with no seatbelt.
Nice.
The L.A.
Were seatbelts invented by then? Was that a thing that people already did?
I don't know. Cars are pretty new. Electric cars, as we know them, are pretty new
Right.
At this time. So probably not. I don't know if any of them would have seatbelts yet.
And people wouldn't be like, seat belting themselves into their horse at this time.
No,
Okay.
or carriage or whatever
Yeah.
else. Yeah. Or
right.
train.
Yeah.
Trains wouldn't have seatbelts.
No.
So I don't know if any cars have seatbelts, but I'm sure most of them do not.
Okay.
The L.A. Thompson is considered the father of modern-day roller coasters and held 30 patents on innovations still used today. 15 cents a ride. The Fairy Gorge Tickler, where attendees would sit in metal buckets and slide completely unhindered down perilous slopes.
Nice.
Yeah, that sounds like fun.
What tickled them?
The experience.
Just the sensation?
I think it was
Okay.
just the feeling of sliding down.
Okay.
Yeah, the Fairy Gorge Tickler.
Okay.
Which there's not one part of that doesn't sound dirty.
Right.
The Vacuum Tube Railway, where guests were put into a metal cage, then shot along the tracks by compressed air.
That sounds terrifying.
Yeah, yeah. And it's really just like a loose cage that you're
Yeah,
in, packed in
yeah.
with a whole bunch of other people.
Like, if you were inside of one of those giant gerbil balls, maybe that would feel a little bit better. But if it's a metal cage, I don't know. Something feels very,
Yeah.
very scary about it. Because you can get your hand out.
Right. Or at least your fingers, and then your
Right.
finger's gonna get lopped off.
Yeah.
That's actually, I learned this recently, that's why they don't allow selfie sticks at Disneyland.
Oh, really?
Because they're afraid that people will try to take selfies while on the roller coasters,
Yeah.
and their arms or their phones will get knocked out and hit somebody in the face. Or
Right. Well, and selfie sticks are stupid anyway. But,
Yeah, that's true.
But selfie sticks on roller coasters
Are really stupid.
Yeah. Okay.
Almost as stupid as putting yourself into a metal cage and getting shot by compressed air with
Right.
no seatbelt. There were classic games, such as a Guess Your Weight station. There were wrestling matches. An appearance was made by Prince Albert the Educated Horse.
Is this like Little Sebastian from
Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec?
Well, they would have horses that would do math tricks. So, like, how many apples? And then the horse would
No.
stomp how many...
I don't believe. Can horses really do that?
No, I don't believe they can.
Ugh.
I think that it's the master would give them signals.
Got it,
And the
okay.
signals would indicate,
Yeah.
at least for Prince Albert the Educated Horse. Princess Trixie the Educated Horse showed up as well.
Okay.
So this is a hell of an expo. It's got two separate educated horses
That are both royalty, right?
that are yeah, that's true. The king didn't make it, but
okay.
yeah, Prince Albert the Educated Horse and Princess Trixie the Educated Horse.
You know, Prince Albert makes sense for a royal name, but were there many Princess Trixies in that time?
There was at least one.
There was one.
At least one, yeah.
The important
Yeah,
one.
she was an individual. She was
Yeah.
unique.
Okay.
There was an upside-down house where the building appeared to be built upside down, and the interior used tricks to make it seem like water was going uphill, and other illusions. There were carnival houses with trick mirrors, boxing matches, and a building that had a big sign up front that said "Haunted Swing."
Oh, Alicia Wickstead would actually love that.
Oh yeah, Haunted Swing?
Yeah.
Yeah. The details of what the Haunted Swing was, unfortunately, have been lost to the ages. We're not really sure what the Haunted Swing building contained.
This is gonna kill me.
What the Haunted Swing is?
Yeah, I need to know what it's all about.
Maybe it's just a swing that swings by itself like there's a ghost in it.
I would imagine.
Or a swing that you swing on and see ghosts.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that'd be nice to share a swing with the ghost.
Just make a nice ghost friend. Hey, you want to come live in the woods with me later?
Yeah.
There were reenactments of historic battles. It was also on the pay streak. Some of the more unfortunate displays were put up.
Okay.
Native peoples from around the world were put on displays in front of artwork and architecture from their country of origin in a zoo-like setup.
Yeah, that's a disappointing point in history.
Yeah, they don't really have the same sensibilities that we do today.
Yeah.
There was the Eskimo Village, which featured over 100 men and women native to Alaska. The streets of Tokyo, which had Japanese women in kimonos walking about a koi pond. There was a Filipino exhibit where a native hut was built and native Filipinos were brought in to act as a living museum. This caused some controversy, but not at the prospect of gawking at people, but an unsuccessful protest was mounted to get them to put on pants instead of their traditional garb.
I think they protested for the wrong thing on that one.
I'm going to agree with you on that.
Yeah, there's not really any skirting of that issue.
Yeah, I think that they, it's more wrong to put people on display than it is to say that person should be wearing pants. And my white Christian eyes are offended by it.
Right. That's so sad.
Yeah. The sign above the Filipino exhibit read, quote, Igorot Village, 50 primitive wild people in a typical village from their Philippine islands. 50 dog eaters, headhunters from mountain fastness of Philippine Island. So,
okay.
Pretty racist.
Yeah.
Pretty racist display.
Yeah, very.
Yeah. The racism of these displays are easy to see today, but at the time it was unlikely anyone would see anything wrong with it. How far we've come.
Yeah.
I hope.
My friends in our forest situation, I think we'd all be a little bit more humane than that.
I think so.
Yeah.
I hope you would be.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope the hoo-hoo house also... Actually, I don't have high hopes for those guys.
The hoo-hoo house?
Yeah.
Well, you had to be a hoo-hoo to get into the hoo-hoo house.
Yeah, okay.
But a lot of hoo-hoos came to the festival just to go to the hoo-hoo house.
Okay.
So, yeah, but they only would let a certain number of people in because the hoo-hoo house was small.
Right. Only 9 people? Is that what you said?
I know, not only 9, only a certain number of people in.
Okay.
They had a wedding attended by 99 people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But they love the number 9.
They love the number 9.
That's what it is.
Yeah, number 9 is the number of the hoo-hoo. There was the Chinese village. It was put up almost entirely by Chinese businessmen living in Seattle at the time. Ah King, who was often called the mayor of Chinatown, went to China for 6 months in 1908 to find the best goods and performers to come to the Expo. The Chinese village had 3 buildings, a restaurant, tea house, temple, small bazaar, and a performance area for the jugglers and magicians brought from China, which sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, that actually sounds pretty cool.
I'd really like to go to that
Yeah.
and see Chinese jugglers and magicians.
Yeah, definitely.
One of the most notable exhibits was of incubators that
Okay.
kept safe, warm, and alive prematurely born babies.
Oh, okay. I was thinking like a chicken incubator.
Oh, yeah.
I was thinking that'd probably be at a World's Fair, but for babies.
For babies.
Okay.
Yeah, they have the chicken incubators at the Puyallup Fair. I see every year. But no, yeah, this is
So that's more of a local fair situation.
local fair situation, but for a World's Fair, you got the
actual
babies in incubators.
Okay.
Baby incubators were becoming a staple of fairs such as this around the world.
They were a staple of
They
the
were a
fairs?
staple of fairs.
So every fair.
You can't have a fair without baby incubators.
So what was the time range on that? Because I have to imagine that somewhere in the late 1800s, that's when incubators started for babies.
Yeah.
And then sometime after that, they probably stopped bringing those to fairs.
It's a very narrow window of opportunity to see a baby incubator at a World's Fair.
Yeah, I haven't seen one. So.
Yeah, no, I don't think they do it anymore. I'm not sure. I haven't done research into. You just went to a World's Fair in Milan. You didn't see baby incubators? No. Oh, I would demand my money back if I go to a World's Fair and there's not a baby incubator. The devices were simple. They circulated air in and kept the inside a consistent temperature. So they're not nearly as high-tech as the incubators that we have today.
Right.
The babies on display remained healthy over the course of the expo. Other expos were not so lucky.
Oh, no.
Yeah, at the Louisiana Purchase Exposition, roughly half the babies in the incubators died during the fair, owing to an outbreak of contagious diarrhea.
Oh.
Yeah.
That sounds very unpleasant.
Oh, it's horrible. Horrible. The trade magazine The Billboard advertised, quote, baby incubators, complete installations as operated by us, for sale to hospitals and amusement parks.
Okay.
So that's who they're actually marketing to.
Yeah. There's no other group of people that I would imagine would want to see an incubator outside of medical professionals and amusement seekers.
Yeah, yes. And where they overlap, cha-ching!
Right.
The well-being of the babies were reported on continually over the course of the fair. The Seattle Star reported, quote, daily, new little ones are coming into the incubators, and with every one that comes, there is a story of heart interest to stir the hardest. The Seattle Daily Times reported, quote, the recent graduation of Catherine and the adoption of Dorothy have created no end of comment and discussion among the visitors. Little Tony will be ready for adoption when graduated from the incubator. Dorothy, the graduate, will spend the summer on a ranch near Rockford with her adopted mother.
Okay.
So people are knowing these babies by name, and they're being reported about daily in the press.
So these are all orphans?
These are all orphans.
Okay.
Yeah, prematurely born orphans that are up for adoption.
Yeah.
On display.
On display.
Yeah, the ideas of children's rights isn't really existing at this point.
We have a lot of things wrong with the social structure at this point in time.
Yeah.
But at least they're helping them out.
Helping them out. A lot of them are getting adopted.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It's a good, It's like, but sometimes I go to a fair and I'll get like a stupid hat or something that I'm never going to wear.
Or corn dog.
Are people impulse adopting these babies?
Right. They're walking by the exit and see,
Oh, you know what I need? I need a baby. The exhibit was funded largely from the Baby Incubator Cafe, a small restaurant adjacent to the babies.
Oh, I would not want to be at that restaurant in Louisiana.
No.
Ugh.
Yeah.
All right.
There was a raffle at the Expo, and each exhibit offered up something to serve as a prize.
Okay.
The Baby Incubator exhibit put up a baby for raffle.
Of course they did.
Of course they did.
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
Yeah. The Seattle Daily Times reported, quote, a bouncing baby boy, 1 month old, the property of the Washington Children's Home Society, is one of the prizes offered at the exposition today. His name is Ernest, and by tonight he will have a surname, when the winner, holding the proper ticket, comes to claim the child.
I hope Ernest turned out to be one of the coolest guys in the world.
You'd hope so.
They're not.
Well, we don't know.
We don't know.
Well, they go on. The awarding of the prize is contingent on the holder of the ticket really wanting to adopt the child and having the proper qualifications demanded by the Home Society.
Okay.
But the winner never came forward to claim the prize.
Oh, those assholes.
Well, you're going to have a ticket for a general raffle, and I really hope I get the ice cream maker, but, a baby? I don't know about that.
They definitely walked backwards out of that one. Like they were like looking at the ticket and just slowly trying to sneak out.
Sulking away. It is unknown what happened to baby Ernest.
Oh,
so
poor
we don't
guy.
know. Yeah. The final day of the fair was October 16th, 1909. The expo closed its doors after being visited by almost 4 million people.
Okay. 4 million.
4 million people coming to what's now the University of Washington campus. Only 5 buildings remain from the original expo, but the layout of the UW campus remains largely the same.
Okay. Confusing and windy.
And windy, yes.
Yeah.
But highlighting the beauty of the surrounding areas.
Yeah. It's a very scenic place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the first World's Fair Seattle hosted.
That's great.
Showing off Seattle to the world.
And just so I know what to name my child from an incubator, I'm going to go for Bandersnatch. That's the cat, right?
Bandersnatch was the cat.
Okay. All right.
I thought you were going to go with Ernest.
Well, Bandersnatch Ernest is... I'll use both.
So Bandersnatch Ernest Miller
Yeah.
is going to be your child's name.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. Only found at a World's Fair incubator.
Yeah. You got some very specific child rearing expectations.
Yeah, maybe that's not the best idea.
No, it's the only idea, and you've got it on recording now,
now,
it has to happen.
Yep, now the world has heard.
The world has heard. The world will know. If anybody runs into Randy in 10 years and he does not have a child named Bandersnatch Ernest Miller, then be disappointed in him.
Right.
Well, thank you for listening to the Seattle Files. Thank you so much, Randy, for being here.
Thank you again.
I'll be back next Tuesday with a new topic and a new guest. If you have a topic suggestion that you would like to hear an episode about, shoot me an email at theseattlefiles@gmail.com. Thank you again to Elizabeth Westerman for this topic suggestion. Be sure to like us on Facebook, subscribe, and rate the show in iTunes. I'll be back next Tuesday with a new topic and a new guest. Thank you for listening. 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 A new